Joined now by 11-time Olympic medalist Ryan Lochte. To my left and to my far left is David Marsh, who's the head coach at Swim Mac Carolina and also the head women's Olympic coach for the Rio Olympic Games. So I'm going to turn over to Ryan for an opening statement, then David, and then we'll open it up for questions. So take it away, Ryan.
Hi, welcome. It's definitely good to be back in Omaha. I remember 4 years ago, just the venue, the meet itself, was definitely a thriller. So I'm definitely glad to be back in my top shape and, just ready to rock and roll. It'll be fun.
David?
All right, Mike. The last two Omaha meets have been the most exciting swimming events I've ever been to in my career of coaching, including all the Olympic venues. No doubt the Omaha will do it again. It's funny though, with a hat on as head Olympic coach, sort of my epiphany's been that that I'm really most interested in who gets first and second and what kind of team we assemble, and then who gets top six in the 100 and 200 freestyle, what kind of team gets assembled there, and then actually getting moved on to the next thing. There was the Olympic pool this morning somewhere on Twitter, and I kind of grabbed that, and after at least if we have Max Summers make it, I'm going to be pushing that to them to remind them that when this is over, the mission really begins. But the exciting thing for Swimming United States is this is become a mecca event. It becomes an event where everybody wants to be in swimming, and what's awesome is that we also have people who aren't in swimming that want to be here. And one is we welcome all of you, but we also welcome folks to get in and understand our sport, because the story of our sport is our people and the journey, the struggle, the high points, and there'll be a lot of high points and struggles at this meet. So it's going to be a lot of fun this week with the ups and downs and emotions of an inherent event like every 4-year event where you pick two people, and we're looking forward to it. The group we have at SWIMAC has done a great job in terms of this window of time of preparation. Like Ryan says, the guys overall are in great shape. I just got a text from Jimmy Fegan say he did some fast 50 back home, so they're all getting where they need to be right now, and I think emotionally, physically, even spiritually, I think they're all kind of bringing things together very nice at a good time, and hopefully have a nice meet here.
Start off with Nicole.
Nicole Auerbach, USA Today. For both of you, but maybe David, you could start. We've been hearing swimmers and Chuck talk about doping and recent reports. What has been your reaction to that coverage, and what are you expecting on that front heading into Rio?
I'm so appreciative to Travis and the people who are stepping out in front and calling it like it is. We have someone that's really special in our group, Kirsty Coventry from Zimbabwe, who's on the highest level IOC commissions, and she's really put her neck out there a little bit to demand as an athlete. And the most effective form of cleaning up any sport, our sport specifically here today, is to have the athletes calling for it, the athletes demanding it, and the athletes following up on it. So watching Kirsty travel the world, deal with the levels of meetings she's been dealing with at the IOC level, has been a little bit enlightening, but it's also somewhat encouraging as well. We have a long way to go. We are not at a point where we can say that there are no drugs in our sport, there's no cheaters in our sport. And I think until we do, it's inherent that we all keep calling for it, and then we all keep looking for ways to create a level, fair playing field of real human being performance. I feel very good about the U.S. trials. I feel like this is a venue where we have people of the highest character and ethics, and I feel like we'll have a very, very clean event here, and we'll have a very level playing field, a very exciting playing field, but a very level one.
For both of you guys, you can take it to it, but I'm curious. I heard you had quite an eventful trip into town yesterday. I was hoping you could share that story and also share the story of where you trained last night.
So our trip yesterday, a day from...
You were in first class.
I was in first class, but I mean, still, it was a long travel day. We were supposed to get here around 3 p.m. and we didn't end up getting here until midnight. We got rerouted to Kansas, so David was able to find us a pool to train in Kansas, and then after our training session, we came and drove about 3 hours to Omaha. So it was a long day, but I think it was kind of good because it kind of got out of our relevant. Like we weren't expecting it. David was always saying to us throughout the year, like, prepare yourself for the worst. And that's just one thing that we were able to overcome. So now we can just really get ready for the next couple of days.
It was an oxygen issue, which is, I guess, a big issue. It's funny, as soon as the oxygen issue happened, Katie, Maya, and I were talking about, like, I had this sensation, like, yeah, I do feel kind of faint. And I was like, and she said she had the same sensation, but not until the announcement, so it probably was fine. But the reality was, first they're going to land in St. Louis, which would have been a lot worse, because a 6-hour drive wouldn't have been acceptable. We might have had to stay in a hotel overnight. But we flew at 10,000 feet, so it was a slow flight, a low flight, and then they put it down in Kansas City. I called Gardner Howland, who's the coach of Kansas City Blazers, and asked him where the best pool to swim at would be. Platte County Y, a brand new YMCA pool, had us there. And it's funny, when we got there, the lifeguards and the folks had no idea who we were. We just were going into the YMCA pool, and one of the lap swimmers says, "Gosh, they're moving through the water awfully fast." I'm like, "Yeah, they're pretty good." And then so I started naming off everybody, and it was like, "Holy SHI," It was like, so he figured it out. But it actually was interesting you said that, Ryan, that it was a somewhat of I could say even a positive diversion. It was created a lot of conversation in the car, and it was about a 3-hour drive to get in here. Fortunately, we beat the game getting out, so it wasn't a traffic issue getting in. So it was fine. The ride from Kansas City to here is pretty much a straight line, and you don't take many turns, so it's pretty easy on 29. No, we got two. When they said they were going to load us on buses. Yeah, they said they were going to load us on buses. We were like, oh no, we can't do that. That big group bus going 55 miles an hour. So we rented 2 vehicles and grabbed some Jimmy Johns and after we swam and made it down here. It's fine. Everything's it is true. I mean, and it'll happen in Brazil probably more than most Olympics. Things are going to happen that you just need to be ready for, and you need to be relaxed and roll with things. And we've done that. The guys look good in the water this morning, so we're up and going.
Ryan, as you fully embrace the return to the 400 IM, and what does it take mentally and physically to do that at your advanced age?
Oh, advanced age. Yeah.
Seasoned. He's
seasoned. I guess I try to hide it all year, but I guess since trials is 2 days away, I'm definitely swimming the 400 IM. It will be a fun event. It's one of the hardest events in the sport of swimming, and I think I love the event. I enjoy it because you can't be great in one stroke. You have to be good in everything, and it's a challenge, and I'm definitely up for it. And there's a lot of young guys up and coming that will definitely be a good battle, so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Karen?
Question for David. You have a couple swimmers who potentially could go up against a Russian woman who has twice failed drug tests. Given what we know about the systemic doping in Russia, how do you feel about the Russian swimmers competing in Rio?
Well, I'd love to have all the clean Russians swim in Rio. So I think there's systemic, but that's not the only nation that's had patterns of behavior that seem to go beyond the norm. And so I think into the future, and hopefully now is the future, we're going to have to take some risk on being more aggressive for the demonstration of patterns. And I don't know if the powers that be will do that. I really don't get a say at the table other than right now in a kind of the media setting. So no doubt in my mind that somebody that's been tested twice positive during this window of time, I don't see how could be allowed to swim in the games. But again, as we all know, there's a lot of politics at play in everything in high-level sports. And when money's involved, when all the international, all the nations kind of come together like this. This is not new news. I think the new documentary that will be coming out will really expose truly what happened and what happened since the 76 team and the women's team just were completely done wrong, and they still don't have their medals right now, which is crazy. So there's I hope that what we can do is call for the next level of enforcement, and that enforcement's going to involve investigation. It's not just going to involve testing what's in their blood and urine. These guys have been tested more this year, and as we've said all along, the athletes have called for more testing. The coaches have called for more testing, and so they've been tested a lot more. And unfortunately, his tester usually shows up at 5 a.m., which isn't ideal. But we have to embrace it. But the job isn't just testing. Also, there has to be investigating as well. And certainly, when it walks like a duck and squawks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
Ryan. So you mentioned you're definitely swimming the 400 IM. What can you say about the rest of your event schedule, specifically that double on day 5 and 6, the two back 2 IM?
I'm going to take each day at a time. I'm entered in a lot of events, but right now, all I can say is that I'm swimming the 400 IM, and then I'll keep you guys guessing on what I'm going to do the next day.
David, we'll say he pushed off a 27-1 today, and the 50 back just kind of warm up this morning, so his backstroke looked awfully good.
Hint, hint.
Paul.
Well, his backstroke.
Yeah. Ready? Ryan, one more. Let's just get back on doping. We didn't get to hear I'll just ask you bluntly, because Elizabeth Beisel said she's not confident that Rio will be a totally clean swimming competition. Do you think it'll be totally clean, or what's your thoughts?
I mean, I could only hope that it will be, just because I know that I've been tested, for me personally, I've been tested more than I've ever been tested. Hey. Oh, sorry. That's my best friend. I've been tested more than I've ever been this year, and I think it's good for the sport, testing more swimmers, more athletes. And I mean, all I can say about myself is I'm clean. And I just hope that everyone else stays on that track. They test more athletes, and they just try to make the sport cleaner.
How much talk has there been, too, about it? Because that was also Katie has said, it is a topic of discussion when you see a whole nation's track team being banned from the Olympics, and some of the positive tests, and Sun Yang, and some of the stuff that's gone on with some swimmers. How much discussion is it, and is there any concern of it becoming a distraction as you head in, if you're worried about what the person next to you, this kind of goes back where we had swimsuits. Now are you worried when you get up on the dot, is this person I'm swimming against clean?
I don't really focus on that. I kind of focus on myself, and I rely on the training that I've done, the work I've done. And I don't really worry about the other swimmers, whether they're doping or whether they're cheating in some kind of way. I just kind of focus on myself, and whether they're doping or not, it's gonna be a battle in order to beat me. So that's all I can do.
And the athletes need to control controllables. They can't control that, but coaches and absolutely, it's the biggest threat to who should win the medals. It's the biggest threat to the integrity of the games. It's that topic is a serious topic, and I am glad to hear that there's been a serious response to that so far. I hope there's even more serious responses and serious testing, not just testing to say you tested, but testing the right things that are likely to get picked up that will give an advantage to an athlete in that event. So there's a whole kind of panel of what that looks like too. And I'm really, and it will affect the women more than the men, as we've seen historically. I mean, the men get affected some. Women with a little bit of extra testosterone, it's a giant advantage. it's a complete game changer. So I just will do what I can to ask that anybody in that position accept that position with the highest levels of accountability, with the athletes ultimately in mind, that we want a clean and fair Olympic Games, Olympic trials also.
Go ahead, Emily.
Emily Zink, KMTV Action 3 News. This question's for Ryan. Obviously, you're going to be competing in front of a sold-out crowd here in Omaha. We want to know kind of what the atmosphere is like for you to be here in front of all these fans.
Oh, I mean, it's insane. And from what I hear, all the seats are sold out. And that is amazing because, what I want to do in the sport of swimming is I want to change the sport. I want to make it bigger than what it was in 2012. And for hearing that the seats are sold out is amazing. I mean, it's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. The last couple Olympic trials, we've had fireworks. We had fire. I mean, it's unbelievable. You're going to see definitely a lot of fast racing, a lot of fast swims, and it's unbelievable. It's probably one of the most exciting swimming events ever.
You've been here before. What is your favorite thing to do in Omaha? Do you have a favorite thing?
When I travel or when I go to swim meets, I usually just see the swimming pool and my hotel. So I'm definitely going to catch up on some movies in between sessions, and I'll be eating a lot of Jimmy John's.
Pretty close. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we have one over here?
Ryan, what is the biggest challenge for you making the Olympic team in your 4th Olympic trials than in your first? 4 Olympic trials ago, I think.
I guess the biggest thing is definitely going to be when I was younger, I was able to recover a lot quicker. So all those events that I was doing, I was able to recover really quick. I think that's the biggest thing that's going to be my biggest factor is this meet, is especially my first day, the 400 IM. I'm definitely going to have to do a lot more recovery after the race than I usually do, just so I can have those great races the next days. So that is definitely going to be the biggest thing.
And Ryan, looks like one last go-round with Michael, head-to-head. When he's been your biggest rival over the years. You two say you feed off each other so much. How much are you looking forward to that? And do you have a different appreciation for the rivalry that you two have fostered, knowing that it is now coming to an end?
I kind of don't want to think it's coming to an end, just because since, 2003 we've been racing against each other. It's just been so much fun. And it made the sports that much better. People, just us pushing each other and having close races between each other, it brought a lot of people outside the sport into it, just watching. So it definitely was really good for the sport. But racing against him is an honor. He's one of the world's greatest swimmers ever. And for me to be a part of that era, and to be able to push him or even sometimes beat him, it's definitely an honor, and it's fun. So even if this is our last go around together, we'll definitely make it count.
We'll finish up over here on the left.
Ryan, I have a question about 400 IM. You said that you will be going up against many young guys, and can you tell us who you consider as your biggest opponents among all those young guys, whether within the United States or in the world?
I think the 400 IM is more of, you have to be tough. You have to be able to train all 4 strokes. I think my biggest opponent will be myself, just because you have to have a certain mindset when you get up on those blocks, especially the 400 IM. And if my mindset's right, I'm definitely going to do really well. But as far as that, other athletes, I mean, in the U.S. alone, we've have what, 4 or 5 guys that go under 413. So it's definitely going to be a close race. And then right now, I'm not really worried about the rest of the world. I gotta still make the Olympic team. So I gotta really worry about in the next 2 days, worry about me and just racing the other U.S. guys.
Ryan, I have a quick follow. If recovery is the toughest thing for you right now, why swim the 400 IM when that's the toughest race to recover from? Why not just save yourself for the shorter races later in the week?
I could, but then it wouldn't be fun. For me, fun is a challenge. I love having a challenge. And, you know, the 4IM, especially how old I am, and it's definitely, and how fast other young swimmers are, it's going to be a challenge. But that's exciting. And that's why I love the sport. It's exciting.
Cameron, if I can answer that a little bit too, because just so you have the context of this, a couple of conversations we've had is that he's one of the guys in the United States that has 4 great strokes. He's capable of this race, and he's when he swims at speeds of the 4 IM, his strokes come easy. They're on point, you know. When he tries to go down to 100, that's when it's more of a, you know, he has to force things a little bit more. He's very natural at swimming at the speeds of 4 IM. And the challenge was to really get in the fitness level he needed to be in to do the event. And so Dr. Batley, our team doctor, has been amazed at some of his, like when he does some of his blood panels on how he recovers. So he has a pretty incredible physiological response to stress and recovery, and so he's got one of the secret gifts of Ryan is that he has a physiological ability to recover, and certainly as you hear him right now, I think a lot of the key is, like Katie Malia was in the car yesterday asking him that almost exact question yesterday when we were driving from Kansas City to here. She asked him that, and he said I just like to race. I like to race. Other point is that, you know, the U.S. need, you know, it's a medal position for the USA, and if he's the best guy to have on the blocks for the USA, then he ought to be the guy we try to have on the blocks. And if he's not, then we'll know in a couple days.
All right, thanks everybody. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be back this afternoon in the 4 o'clock hour with Dane of Omer and Connor Dwyer. Thanks, Ryan and Dave.